and our patients for voting Indiana Eye Care Gold for Best Optometrist in this year's Best of Indiana County contest.
Discover more local winners in our Best of Indiana County magazine, which is now available.
News Talk AM 1160 WCCS and 101.1 FM is giving you the chance to fall into cash with our $1,000 Workday contest brought to you by Mr. J's at the Johnstown Galleria. Thousands of dollars will be given away and you'll have 2 chances to win every workday. Listen weekdays in the 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock hours for the special keyword, then text that keyword to 508-777-1000. Giving you 2 chances each workday to fall into cash and win $1,000 from News Talk WCCS.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. And it is a Friday morning. We're so happy to be able to talk to Dr. Miko Rose. She is the founding dean of IUP's proposed School of Osteopathic Medicine. And you get to meet her come Monday because she's going to be the speaker at the 6 o'clock series, which, as we reiterated yesterday, is that's open to everybody in the community, not just IUP. So if you want to go, you can see her. Where are you going to be that night?
I think it's at Elkin.
Elkin.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Our conversation presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Brand new College of Osteopathic Medicine. That's not a big deal at all, is it?
No, not at all. Just thought I'd build a sandwich or make a med school, right? Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I can't emphasize enough to members of the community that I'm meeting continually that this is not a one-person effort. Mm-hmm. If someone said, oh, do you want to be the founding dean of a medical school before I took this role, I would have said, absolutely not.
No.
That is too much for one individual human to take on as a project. And when I started meeting people in the Indiana community, I saw very quickly that there is no one in this town or in IUP or with the combination. This project has been in development for a number of years, at least 2 to 3 years in its inception. The community has come together. I'm at the helm as one of the leaders leading the charge to create the School of Medicine. I am by far not the only person on this project or team.
Well, that being the case, I don't know how much experience, how many schools of medicine you've founded down through the years as the founding dean, but is it what you expected it to be?
It is.
Process-wise.
So there were a number of expectations that I had regarding some of the challenges that we would be facing, such as raising funds for the escrow. In some ways, it's been more promising than anticipated, and in other aspects, we are exactly where I had predicted and suspected we would be in terms of needing to raise additional funds pretty quickly to get the escrow together so that we can move forward for the next phase. Other aspects like community outreach, community support, infrastructure of university initiatives and support has been beyond what I could have imagined in support. So many aspects that I've heard from other institutions trying to start medical schools, we have so much more support. In fact, one of my new hires, an associate dean of clinical affairs, Dr. Ryan Smith, just came as an associate dean, starting another medical school in one of the southern states of the United States. And he said he's never seen this kind of support. And he just helped a medical school complete their application and approval process for matriculating new students.
Wow. That's tremendous.
Yes.
But it also gives us a little bit of insight and maybe cracks open the door just a little bit for us to see that this is a process that is not simple. This is a complicated deal in terms of regulation, in terms of licensure, and all of the things that have to happen to make this a viable entity.
Yes. When you think about things like, the 9th Street Deli and a sandwich shop and what people talk about or what it took to create a sandwich shop and how many different regulations and rules and people and community support that needed to be available to make that happen. And then we multiply that times exponentially to think about what it requires to meet the credentials and certifications of a medical school, create the curriculum and the ingredients towards what that's going to build, create the community support for the infrastructure of the building, the traffic flow, the people, the workflow, the faculty and staff recruitment, and then the medical students. We've got a lot of layers to have and create success.
go back to something you said a couple of seconds ago, because when you named all those things, I thought that wouldn't be fun. That might be okay. This sounds like more fun. And when you said creating the curriculum and the way the actual school is going to operate, that seems to me to be the fun part.
Yes. So to be very clear, the faculty themselves, once hired, will be creating the individual aspects of the curriculum. Mm-hmm. The overall infrastructure of programming and how that curriculum will be developed, and if you will, like the holding foundation for what faculty will put into the curriculum, will be developed by the faculty. However, the teaching standards and the individual professional accreditation standards that we will be inviting faculty to create the curriculum towards will be something that we have to set up. So, for example, we will choose what classes need to be taught. We will choose what standards will need to be met. Faculty will come and develop individual ways that they can teach that. Mm-hmm. But we have a unique opportunity to look at medicine as a whole, to look at medicine almost the way physicians, myself being one included, and look at medicine like a patient. What is wrong with medicine and what is great about medicine? Yeah. And we can look at the things that we know physicians and doctors do really, really well using models like IRMC, Punxsutawney Area Hospital, Katanning Armstrong, and say, look, what are these community hospitals doing brilliantly? Right? Yeah. I've talked with folks in Punxsutawney and IRMC and even Katanning Armstrong, and patients and community members alike will say, you know what, if I have to go to the hospital, and I hope I don't, but when I do, I know I'm going to look up and I'm going to see a nursing staff or a physician, someone that either I know or someone that knows someone that's connected to my community. Sure. And that's a safe feeling, because when patients are sick and they're in a vulnerable position, it's very comforting to know that someone knows them or someone directly who knows someone is a member of their community. So there's already incredible support. The other aspects, we just have to look at where are the areas for improvement.
For you personally, making the step from a practicing physician, and I believe it's psychiatry?
Yes, psychiatry. I started in internal medicine, got my internal medicine primary general practice certification, and then switched into psychiatry. So I am trained in primary care as well.
Deciding to step from that arena into this one, I don't know if scary is the word, but for me that would be a scary thing. For you, how was that? Was it something that was easily embraced, or did you have to struggle a little bit?
That's a great question. So when I was first invited to consider this role, it was not something on my radar. I was not even a child who grew up saying, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. I grew up very poor. I grew up on food stamps and powdered milk, and the idea of being a doctor, much less being in healthcare, was not something that had occurred to me. Mm-hmm. So it was much later. It was actually a second career that I had decided to enter medicine. I was very inspired by my work, working in underserved communities and doing economic development and community support. Similarly, the idea of being a founding dean of a medical school was not something that was on my radar. It was Indiana and IUP and this school and this community that really helped me consider the yes.
Wow. So you're coming here from Michigan,
yes,
which is where you were last living and working, and you come to Indiana, Pennsylvania. Did you know anything about Indiana, Pennsylvania? Had you heard of IUP?
I had not heard of IUP. I did not know anything about Indiana, Pennsylvania. I came from Michigan State University, which is a larger school than IUP. However, it has a very similar infrastructure and town relationship. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of similarities that when I came to this town felt very familiar. The aspects of Michigan State and the Michigan community that I lived in, I felt, for example, there's a lot of traffic at certain times of the day. The connection to community and people wasn't quite what I had always dreamed I would be living in terms of a community. When I came to IUP and started to discover Indiana, I was blown away by the community and the community connections. And I'm going to circle back really quickly to this piece of doing something new and how it could be scary or exciting. For me, the idea of creating something from scratch, even though I've been a practicing physician for many years, I also had an opportunity through Michigan State to work on programming, creating classes, looking at ways that we can improve and change the medical system. I'm sure we could we could grab anyone on the sidewalk right out here and say, hey, do you like your medical care? And people will have some good things to say and probably some areas and room for improvement. Mm-hmm. The thing that really blew me away about this opportunity was that we have an opportunity to change medical care and do something different and start from scratch.
Wow. We're talking with Dr. Miko Rose. If this doesn't fire you up to go to the 6 o'clock series on Monday, I don't know what will. Tell me about the advantages that this school, this College of Osteopathic Medicine, what this is going to do for IUP and what it's going to do for this entire community, especially with your relationships with the medical providers who are here now.
Absolutely. So I had just pulled up some data and research on the impact that this project will have on economic development. And this is information that we have released, and we're about to launch a web page. So for the College of Osteopathic Medicine at IUP, there is a $1.3 billion, not million, $1 billion impact on annual state economic impact if 60% of the IUP College of Osteopathic Medicine graduates choose to stay in Pennsylvania to practice. And all of our recruiting planning, all of our interviewing process for screening, our entire development of pipelines and pathways to encourage students from rural PA, particularly focused on Indiana, Punxsutawney, our regional areas. Mm-hmm. That's all focused on doing better than 60% of IUP College of Medicine graduates planning to stay in the region. There's a projected 3 million new annual state and local government revenue projected. Some of these numbers that I've seen in other reports are projected to be greater. A 79 million annual regional economic impact by 2035.
How about that? That is tremendous. My goodness gracious. So when people come to hear you and meet you at the 6 o'clock series on Monday, they're going to hear, obviously, some of that. But they're also going to hear what you think of the community, what you think of IRMC and the IUP community, which you've given us a hint at here this morning. But it sounds like this is something that you have embraced and we ought to embrace as well.
So that's my hope. Obviously, there are going to be folks who are really excited with knowing very little information, and other folks are going to be very, very skeptical without having a lot of information. So we invite people to come and join us. Join the 6 o'clock series, contact us, get involved, come meet with us and the team. We attend many community meetings. We're here for the skeptics to give them more information to hopefully garner support and get folks on board, and to provide additional information for folks who just immediately saw the impact and were excited. So we're happy to give additional information, just help folks understand the incredible impact that this will have on the community. This project was created years before I was hired, and the intention was to bolster IUP as a university and to create an infrastructure for economic development and bolster the town of Indiana.
Yeah, and I think it's going to do more than just that.
That's my hope as well.
She'll be speaking 6 o'clock on Monday at the Elkin Hall Great Room. She's Dr. Miko Rose, and I'm all fired up about it. I hope you are as well. It's the voice of Indiana County. Thanks so much for the visit.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Come back, okay?
I will, absolutely.
It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com, 8:25 in the morning. Jake is in the newsroom. He's coming up. Boomer Sports First. It's Indiana in the Morning on WCCS.
This is Boomer Esiason with Sports Minute, sponsored by Wrangler. It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizon. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles. In a first, I'm throwing everyone involved with the Cleveland-Las Vegas game into my Sunday pressure cooker, where they're already simmering at 1-2. Elsewhere, I'm looking for quarterbacks Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, and Anthony Richardson to finally step it up. Let's go, boys. I'm Boomer Esiason.